we chose Bitcoin Beach as it's a tourist attraction, and it's a place that Bitcoiners from all around the world. It's sort of a must see and must visit if you come to El Salvador. And so we started our business here in Bitcoin Beach intentionally because we wanted to refine the business and learn from our customers, hear the questions they're asking, and really refine what we have before we start scaling up. And so our target, the customers that are walking through the door, it still is 80 to 90% English speaking tourists or tourists from Europe. And it is creeping up though. At the beginning, it was like 95% tourists, 5% Salvadorians. And as time has gone on, we're getting sort of 10 to 20% Salvadorians. It's growing.
Welcome back to another episode of Bitfinex Talks. I'm your host, Ricardo Martinez. Today, I am privileged to be joined by Jamie Robinson, who is the co-founder of the Bitcoin hardware store. Earlier this year, when the Bitcoin hardware store launched, I interviewed his partner, Ronnie, and I'm excited to hear how it's gone since the launch. How are you, Jamie?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, I'm really happy that we can kind of have a follow-up interview. Ronnie came on here, I think the week you guys launched.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I remember he mentioned it, that he was on your show, and that was up in February, was when we were sort of soft launching the business, and it's been a roller coaster ever since, let me tell you.
Cool. So, I mean, how have things gone since the launch?
It's been really busy. The response has been great. Most of Bitcoin exists online, right? We think about the apps we use, the software we use, the conversations we have, and a lot of your experience with Bitcoin, with other Bitcoiners, with the network, is digital. And so to have a place where you can come in and interact with, interact with other Bitcoiners, but also interact with the physical side of things, the hardware wallets, the textbooks, seed metal, business terminals, nodes, miners, merchandise, and just ask questions and be a little vulnerable. And sometimes we all sort of, Bitcoin's such a huge field of knowledge. It's really hard to stay on top of everything. And sometimes you say, I understand Bitcoin, I know Bitcoin, I've been a Bitcoiner for a while, but I have a question about this. And people can come in and anonymously ask questions about stuff, and we're happy to help them. And if we don't know the answer, we'll figure it out for them. And so we're sort of a mix of, we're definitely trying to go for the Apple Store vibe with the products all on display, Genius Bar, services, products, place to come and meet other Bitcoiners. We started with just a retail store, and we've expanded. Now we have a big outdoor classroom area just directly adjacent. And so our classroom area is great. We have classes on Monday night at 5 p.m. And we teach, the target with the classes and with the store in general is, you're a Bitcoiner, you have a Bitcoin wallet, you're level 1, you've just gotten started, but now you want to get to level 2, level 3. You don't necessarily want to get into the level 6, 7 techno mumbo jumbo, and some people do, and we're happy to help them with nodes and nonprofit miners and that kind of stuff. But our real target market is, I just downloaded a Bitcoin app, and I want to learn a little bit more about it and get to the sort of level 2, level 3. And that's what our classes teach on Monday nights. And we also do sort of private instruction in the classroom, and it's also just a hangout. There's music going, and it's a nice sort of hangout place in Bitcoin Beach.
Nice. So last time when I spoke to Ronnie, he mentioned that you guys were operating on a Bitcoin standard. Have you been able to maintain Bitcoin only this whole time?
Almost entirely. So our target when we launched was, we're just going to be sats only. And we've almost entirely been able to do it. We've got our landlord accepts Bitcoin, our accountants accept Bitcoin, our lawyer takes Bitcoin. We've been doing really good. A lot of our vendors, obviously, Bitcoin hardware wallets take Bitcoin, and our internal accounting system and also ERP system that we use to track our inventory across locations and keep track of everything, that's all denominated in Bitcoin. So it keeps track of our node, keeps track of everything. And so we've done pretty good. We do accept cash, and our system, when we take cash, it sort of treats it like an inventory item that has to be bought and turned into sats. There's sort of it's like, okay, you have some cash, we've got physical cash sitting here, but who's going to buy this? Give me Bitcoin. And so the system and the store are aligned towards as Bitcoin only as possible. But unfortunately, we have had to open a bank account So we do now have a dollar-based bank account here. We don't use it very much, but there's been a few things that we do need a dollar account for. The other thing is, because we're targeting tourists and new Bitcoiners, we've had a lot of customers ask about credit card payments, and first little while we're like, no, we're going to stand our ground and not take credit card payments. But eventually, it's money on the table. And great thing about credit cards is people can spend money, they don't necessarily have yet. There's some benefits to credit cards. And so we do now have a little credit card terminal, and we will take it. And our standard pricing is the credit card pricing. And then if you pay with Bitcoin, you get 10% off. So we really do try to encourage. It's 5% off if you pay with cash and 10% off if you pay with Bitcoin. And so we have a real incentive structure to pay with Bitcoin. We have 2 Bitcoin ATMs in the store now for different. We have a Bitcoin Lightning ATM that only does up to $100 with no KYC, or just minimal KYC. And then we have an Athena ATM, which is a full-size bidirectional Bitcoin and Bitcoin Lightning, both ways, a Bitcoin ATM that does require some KYC. And we lease that space out to them. And so we try to be Bitcoin only. We've been doing our best, but it is a retail brick and mortar business, and so there's some challenges there, and we don't want to turn customers away, and we also want to empower we want to sell them the gear. We don't want them to walk away without the hardware wallet they wanted, and so we sort of we bit the bullet. A little bit of dollars, a little bit of banking.
Well, with the educational effort that you guys are doing right now on Monday nights, which you mentioned, are you guys also like teaching classes like in Spanish to Salvadorans?
So we're going to start them on Saturdays or Sundays. Sunday is the traditional day off here. So I think we're going to, we haven't ironed out all the details yet, but we're going to have one sort of weekly class in Spanish, and that will be really, targeting really new Bitcoiners to really sort of onboard more local Salvadorian families. And then we'll still have our Monday classes that'll be in English, that's sort of, then taking it up to the next level. And we are really trying to service the local community here. We now have our first Spanish hardware wallet. It's the Crux open source wallet in Spanish. Ronnie is actually working right now with the Seed Signer team to build the Spanish Seed Signer software. And so we're
nice.
working on that, adding more Spanish products with Spanish textbooks. There's 3 of us now that work at the store on sort of rotation. We have some staff now too, and all of our staff that are coming on. So Ronnie and our new addition, Gabe, they're both fully bilingual, and I'm estoy aprendiendo español, but I'm well, I speak computers pretty good, but human languages I really struggle with, and so I am working on it. But we are really trying. We chose an English name, the Bitcoin Hardware Store in a Spanish country, because there is English is there's a cool factor to English, and a lot of brands use English, even though they're Spanish companies in a Spanish-speaking country. They use English to try and as a marketing tactic, and so we did opt to have an English name, but we really do our best to help the local Spanish community. And where we are in Bitcoin Beach, we chose Bitcoin Beach as it's a tourist attraction, and it's a place that Bitcoiners from all around the world. It's sort of a must see and must visit if you come to El Salvador. And so we started our business here in Bitcoin Beach intentionally because we wanted to refine the business and learn from our customers, hear the questions they're asking, and really refine what we have before we start scaling up. And so our target, the customers that are walking through the door, it still is 80 to 90% English speaking tourists or tourists from Europe. And it is creeping up though. At the beginning, it was like 95% tourists, 5% Salvadorians, and as time has gone on, we're getting sort of 10 to 20% Salvadorians. It's growing, which is excellent. But of course, they have to. A lot of them don't live in Bitcoin Beach. They live in the city or in other major metropolitan areas, and so we want to get up to San Salvador, get up to the capital pretty soon here, and have a second location there. We do have a satellite location in Berlin, which is in the Usulután area in El Salvador, and that's just a shelf inside the Bitcoin Community Center. And one of the guys there sort of manages the shelf, and he has access to our point of sale system. And so we have a satellite location, and we're testing that out. And but we'd like to have a location in the city, and that will be 90% Salvadorians, and that will be the focus there. Once we have more Spanish products, we've got everything ironed out, and so that is definitely the plan.
Exciting stuff happening. Exciting
Yeah,
stuff happening.
yeah. And the
You guys
last
have
few
come a long way.
Thank you. Yeah, and the last few days have been so busy, just with the Adopting Bitcoin conference, the unconference that happened before that, held by Me Premier Bitcoin. It's been really really busy down here. There's lots of people from all over the world. The Adopting Bitcoin conference had, I think it was 1,200 people, the record-breaking amount of people here, and then we had a satellite event at our store after that, and so that was huge. And so it's the momentum here is growing. Everyone's excited. The rest of the world is can be a little doom and gloom sometimes, and so there's this sort of sparkle in everyone's eyes when they come to El Salvador, and it's a great it's a great vibe down here, I'll tell you.
Especially like you guys in Bitcoin Beach are kind of in the nexus of like the Bitcoin pilgrimage place, I guess, where everybody that goes to El Salvador is going to come to uh, Bitcoin Beach to see where it all started, I guess, especially
Yeah.
with it being so close to the capital. So I guess talking to Bitcoiners from all over the world that have come there to Bitcoin country and spoken to you guys at Bitcoin Beach, like what's the most surprising thing you've learned about adoption?
The most surprising thing, one thing I thought when I came to El Salvador and Bitcoin Beach is that it was just going to be sort of Bitcoin everywhere. That Bitcoin was, required by law to be accepted everywhere, and it was going to be like we would reach this ubiquity that a lot of Bitcoiners are hopeful for. We're not there yet. And Bitcoin's legal tender. It has the right tax status here to be able to be used, and not every transaction be a taxable event. And the building blocks are in place, but we're still at a very low overall adoption. If you take a look at every person in the country, there's 100% Bitcoin awareness, which is really interesting. Everybody here knows about Bitcoin.
Mm.
But in terms of actual utilization, it hasn't reached where we'd like it to be. But that's not a deterrent at all. That's, to me, that I'm like, I see opportunity. I see progress to happen. But that's been something that's surprising, is that it's not everywhere yet. As you learn, who accepts Bitcoin, who doesn't accept Bitcoin, it's very easy to live on a Bitcoin standard here. So that you find the gas stations, the grocery stores, you find the places that take Bitcoin, and usually they're good. Like, they're not the tier 2 businesses, they're the tier 1 businesses anyway. And so they, once you sort of figure out a few things along your journey, it's really easy to be on a Bitcoin standard here, which is great. There's a lot of Bitcoin financial products, debit cards. There's lots of on ramps and off ramps here, which is really easy, and lots of businesses that just take it directly, and in most cases they hold it. Not too many businesses take the Bitcoin and sell it. I don't actually see that as much, but so that was one thing that surprised me. The other thing is just how excited people are about El Salvador. I knew people were excited about it, but being at the hardware store and being in hardware store in Bitcoin Beach, we're trying to establish ourselves as a must visit, and I think we're getting there. And people are excited. This is people are very excited. They come from all over the world to come here and see what's going on. And as excited as I was to check it out, I was definitely like, okay, let's see what's going on down here. When I first came on my fact finding mission, I was excited, but the whole world's excited, and we see people from all across the world. People travel very long distances to come to El Salvador and see what's going on for themselves, and that definitely surprised me, as how excited everybody is, and how it kind of keeps a special place in their heart. They sort of go like, no matter what's going on back home with my politicians or whatever's going on, and they're like, oh, at least El Salvador's doing great, I feel like the ripple effect is quite large, and so that's two big surprising things. Just trying to think of anything else that surprised me. I don't know if it was a surprise, but it really is as safe as they say it is. It is incredibly safe here. Everybody is so nice. There's, they really sort of outlawed being a tough guy. There's no sort of tough guy. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's always having a great time. I sort of expected that, but it's true. And you do have to come see it for yourself. But everyone's just in such high spirits. and it's definitely refreshing. So
Yeah,
a
I can
couple
see that.
yeah.
So when the Bitcoin law was first passed, I think a lot of Salvadorians were kind of skeptical of Bitcoin. It was like a
Mhm.
new thing. It wasn't very well understood by the population, and I think they kind of viewed it from a distance. Now that Bitcoin's at $93,000, like, have they become more accepting of Bitcoin?
Yeah, so there's two main concerns that I've heard from local Salvadorians. The first is that Bitcoin is run by the Salvadorian government, and so
Mm,
that's the first big miscommunication that I think some Salvadorians definitely have. Is they just think it's the El Salvador government
mm,
starting a new currency, just like they had the colone, and it had some trouble. And this is a rebirth, a new currency, a digital currency. They're going to be tracking me, and so there's sort of healthy distrust of the government, and so that's the first big misconception, is they think that it's created by the government.
mm,
The other one is, if people don't understand it, they uh, they sometimes say, this is why is our government speculating in this crap coin?
mm.
Why do they have 500 million? Our people need clean water and clean this. There's definitely some rural areas in El Salvador that are still being developed, and some people are sort of, their approach is, why are we speculating on this? um, to them it's a crap coin, like they don't know what it is. And so and so they have that concern. But as they learn about it, and as they start to understand it, no, this is not the Salvadoran government. This is a global leaderless currency that's backed by mathematics and has quantity controls, unlike using the dollar, which is controlled by a foreign country, and has no quantity controls. And so, as they learn more about it, people are getting more accepting of it. Yeah.
When Bukele first started accumulating Bitcoin, like, he bought around 40,000, and then the market kind of tanked to like
Hmm.
16,000, remember? And
Hmm.
people were like, what? And so I was just wondering if, now that like the price is like at all-time highs, if they've become like
Yeah,
more
they
accepting of the
are.
idea.
They are,
Yeah.
and we're seeing that, in our store, going from sort of 1 to 2% local community to 15-20% local community. So we're definitely seeing more excitement. We're definitely seeing that, and the price is super helpful for that.
Mm.
If you have $10 worth of Bitcoin and it turns into 9, not a great story. And so, but if $10 turns into 11, that's a great story. Or if it stays at 10, that's also great. But and so we're seeing more acceptance. We're seeing more, um, but I think the biggest thing is comprehension. The great thing is there's a lot of education around Bitcoin that's happening in the school system here.
Mm.
Plan B has a whole education program here. Me Premier Bitcoin has a whole education program here, um, and the younger generations won't hesitate to use digital money. One of the big problems is that, especially in the rural areas of El Salvador, there just isn't physical banks. You
Mm.
have to travel so far to go to the bank, and there's a lot of people that they don't. For whatever reason, they want to go to the bank and deposit the money, and or deposit their check, and sometimes, on payday, you'll see these big lines outside the bank, and it's still sort of confusing to me. I'm like, what are these guys doing? Like, I rarely go to the bank, to mobile deposit the check or something. What's going on here? And I still haven't cracked that one. But the younger generation, they are way more excited about it. And so, like with all technologies, older generations, it's going to take a little longer. But I think with the price, and with tourism, with all the things that Bitcoin is bringing to the country, one by one, people are getting more excited. Um, and So we're definitely seeing an improvement, definitely. And I expect that to continue. It's in San Salvador. I posted on my Twitter a couple weeks ago. There's a huge um, outdoor banner display billboard, in one of the biggest intersections of the city, and somebody, I don't know who, bought a sort of a hat for it, the top of it, and it's got the Bitcoin price. And so now tens of thousands of motorists every single day drive by this, and can sort of, in the back of their mind, it's sort of right there, and now they sort of will always know what the Bitcoin price is. And hopefully, as things continue, they'll say, wow, I really should be getting some of this Bitcoin. um, and so it's getting better. It's getting better. And one of the things that worked against El Salvador is, when they launched it, the price, started tanking,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it wasn't good it wasn't a good look for the federal treasury of Bitcoin. It wasn't a good look for all the people that got $30 free. It wasn't a good look for anybody any businesses that tried it out. And so they kind of got hampered by that. But, as things come back and get better, the awareness is there. They know it exists. They know it's something. And, with more education and more discussion and, like what we're doing at the Bitcoin hardware store, that'll get better. We've got the facts on our side. And so, sunlight's best disinfectant. And so we'll get there.
Back to the Bitcoin hardware store. What has been like your best selling product in the last 8 months since you guys launched?
Good question. It's definitely been revolving. It changes. It's interesting that one thing we've discovered is that, Bitcoiners, we're explorers, adventurers. We want to try new things, tinkerers, and there's sort of this. We almost have like seasonal products where like something will kind of come in, be hot, and everybody wants it. And so
Yeah.
right now it's the BitX, the nonprofit miner
Oh, nice.
for learning about Bitcoin mining, understanding some of the trade-offs that miners have to make, and helping to decentralize the network and also decentralize mining governance as more people learn about mining. Because right now a lot of people don't really understand mining, and we've got a whole cohort of Bitcoiners that have never mined, and myself included actually, and I've been working in Bitcoin since 2013, and I've never really got into mining. And the BitX lets me get into it and start to understand it a little more. And so now I can be better informed in terms of Bitcoin governance. Making sure that we're making the right decisions in the best interest of the network and not just the miners. And also the lottery mining is fun too. That's a fun sort of component to it. And so we sell them as nonprofit educational miners, and they're hot right now. We're selling tons of them. And the Gammas just came out. We just got a big shipment of those. Those were flying out at the Adopting Bitcoin conference, and so that's been the big one right now. And it's sort of interesting that a new product will come out and it'll be all the rage, and it's actually it's really encouraging as a retailer to know that there's always going to be something new and exciting coming out in Bitcoin, and as long as we get our hands on lots, we can keep our existing clientele and turn them into recurring customers. Because one of the things is, once I sell you a great hardware wallet, once I get you up to speed, it's really that's what you need. And you should be good for a couple of years, right? Like, you're set. And so from a business perspective, we do want to, we want our customers to be, at least somewhat recurring customers that come back and buy more stuff from us. So we've already earned their trust. And so the BitX has been the big one lately. Overall, the CoinKite products, they sell great. We're an authorized reseller. We sell a lot of those products. And we do sell a lot of Blockstream Jades as well, because they're at a better price point in the south here. And so, we sell a lot of Jades as well. Another big seller is the Me Premier Bitcoin textbook.
Okay.
We sell a lot of those textbooks. So the textbook's free online, and we tell everybody that. But having a printed copy in that diploma, just having a printed copy in front of you on your coffee table or in your home, it's a great thing, and it can spark discussions in your home too. And so we sell a good amount of the Me Premier Bitcoin textbooks. People are always interested, and they want to learn more. And so those are some of the big products we sell a lot of. We sell lots of everything. We try not to stock anything that's a dead product, but I'd say it's changed over time, and I expect, the CoinKite Qs just came out, and so those have been flying, and as new products sort of come out, I expect that to be different if we speak again in a year or something. I think that'll change, and so yeah.
Jamie, you guys were at Adopting Bitcoin, and I assume had a booth. How was the conference?
Jammed. It was jammed. It was a lot of fun. I didn't leave I'm ashamed to say, I'm ashamed and proud. I didn't leave the booth once except for my talk. It was so busy at our booth. People were telling us we had the busiest booth. It was jammed, and people were so excited. They want to get their hands on things. They want to touch and feel. And we have we have demo devices powered on, with the pin codes and everything right there, so you can log into the demo device and try it out. And if you've been thinking about buying a CoinKite Q, what better way to try it out than pick it up and log into it using the demo login and try it out and browse around in the menu and feel it, feel the buttons, feel the quality. And same thing with all our different hardware wallets, with the bit axes, with nodes. So our booth was busy. We had a lot of fun. I hear the talks were great. There was so much going on. They did a good job of having a balance of sort of activities and talks and the booths. There was sort of like and food vendors, and there was poker games, and there was a chess room, and there was sort of all kinds of stuff going. People were moving around. They had disc golf. They had the farmers market was set up. The Bitcoin farmers market was set up
Oh, wow.
there. That happens every other Sunday in El Zonte here, and we usually set up there. But we were in the exhibitor hall with our booth. But no, we were jammed. We had lots of fun. We got to get a booth at the next conference. We got to figure that one out because it was super busy. And so the conference was great. Everybody was having lots of fun. The talks apparently were great. I'm going to get caught up. Apparently, lots of them were posted online. So when I get some time, I'm gonna get caught up and watch some of the talks that I missed. But and I'm still new to speaking public. So I'm really good at one-on-one. I love teaching Bitcoin. I love talking about Bitcoin. I know lots about Bitcoin, so I'm confident and I can talk about it. But in big groups, I get a little bit, when all eyes are on you, I can get a little bit nervous. And so my talk went great, which I was really happy about. And it was
What did you present about for your talk?
Yeah, my talk was initializing your first Bitcoin miner, and it was talking
Oh,
about
okay.
the BitX miners, the new BitX gammas, and showing people how understanding the reasons to buy a non-for-profit miner, learning about Bitcoin, decentralize the network, and a fun lottery. But also, we actually initialized one live on screen, and so I showed the BitX product is not just a physical product, but it's also Axe OS. And the
Okay.
Axe OS is really what makes the product so easy to use and mass consumer friendly. It's a great little operating system that runs on it, helps you with the initial configuration, helps you get it connected to your network. That's the big differentiator between, the BitX and just, an Ant miner or whatever, any of the different miners out there. Having Axe OS just makes it point and click. It's so easy. You boot it up, it's Wi-Fi instead of, most miners are LAN. And so, it boots up, starts a configuration Wi-Fi network. You sign on to it, give it your home Wi-Fi information, give it your pool information or your solo mining address, and hit go, and it's done. And so it's so easy. And then it has a little information display with rotating statistics on it, so you can just keep an eye on it in your office. And but the Axe OS software is really understated how big a deal that is for decentralizing Bitcoin mining, because it makes it mass consumer friendly. And so I talked about that and did a demo, and it was a 45-minute demo, but it was great. And I was just like, yes, okay, I get better at talking in person with the big groups, which was fun. That was a good feeling for me.
For those who may not know, explain how they can find the Bitcoin hardware store when they go to El Salvador.
Totally. So if you come to Bitcoin Beach, you really can't miss us. So we're at entrance 2. There's 4 entrances to El Zonte. Entrance 2 is one of the major ones. There's entrance 2 and entrance 4 are sort of the 2 that you would ever check out. And you can't miss us. We're at entrance 2. As soon as you pull in, we're right there. Big Bitcoin hardware store. It's right just off the highway, before you get down to the sort of the beach area. Now the whole El Zonte is a 10-minute walk to get the whole thing. So it's pretty small space. You really can't miss us. And you can find us on Google Maps. Just type in the Bitcoin hardware store, or on Apple Maps, the Bitcoin hardware store. You can come to our website at tbhs.sv. And definitely give us a follow on X at tbhs_SV. And but it's easy to find us. It's hard to miss us. If you come to Bitcoin Beach, ask, especially if you use the Bit Driver or any of the Bitcoin transportation services. They know where we are, and they'd be happy to drop you off here. And you can plan on 15 or 20-minute visit. You come in, take a look at the different products. We've got information about the different products. Try some of them out, ask some questions, hang out outside, and then keep moving and check out El Zonte. There's lots to see, and so that's how to find us.
Amazing. I guess my last question before we end the interview is, how soon are you guys planning on executing your expansion to a secondary location?
In the spring. So high season just started, and high season is sort of when Canada, America, Europe goes on vacation because it's colder, and so high season's kind of now until February, March, spring break kind of thing at the end of March. And so April's, we're going to start plotting in February, March, and then get to it in April when things start quieting down. And so the June, July is sort of the slow season here for tourism in Bitcoin Beach, and so that's when we'll be building and getting everything ready, and hopefully be open for next high season. So that's our plan, is to keep it going just here in Bitcoin Beach. This highs get a full high season because we opened in February, right? So we only caught the tail end of the last high season. So we'll get a full high season this year, and then start working on the new location when it's quieter. And so should be somewhere. We're hoping for a great location in San Salvador, be easy to find, easy to get to, and close to wherever you're traveling.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Jamie. I wish you the best of luck. It was a pleasure talking to you about your experience running a Bitcoin business in El Salvador.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great to meet you, and I hope to touch base again soon, and I'll have another great update for you.